Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Blue Monday podcast. It's day 8 of the government's lockdown, and I'm pleased to say that my guest is looking fit and healthy and living proof that there are no food shortages in Belfast. I'm delighted to be in the company of Ipswich Town legend Jim Magilton. Jim, how are you?
Sean, I'm grand. All things considered, given the extraordinary times we're living in, I'm grand. I'm self-isolating like we all are. I'm housebound. I get out for an hour a day, like most people, trying to keep fit, but having to deal with it like everybody else.
Yeah. Any former players that you would have played with that you wouldn't want to be self-isolating with?
There are quite a few. Who wouldn't I like to self-isolate with? Fabio Milnes would be one, because he'd be always brushing his hair or waxing himself down. He would definitely be one. Who else? Scoey, because he would bore the living daylights out of me. Jimmy Clapham, likewise. Matty, because he'd be putting his foundation on, his makeup on, high cheekbones. Mark Venus, constantly looking at the paper, constantly looking at the Racing Post. Mugga, well, just for being Mugga. Who would I like to be with? I'd like to be with, listen, I picked Jermaine right? Jama and I were roommates for a long time, so he'd be one I'd stay with, and who'd be other? Ooh, Gary Croft, always like Crofty, but the only thing is we'd have to take that ankle bracelet off him and make sure he got in before 10 o'clock. So,
well, hopefully he'll feature in this. He'll feature in this podcast today. After I knew that you were going to come on and do an interview, I phoned up all of your ex-teammates and said, "Who wouldn't you want to be stuck at?" And they all said Jim.
I don't blame any one of them. They're right too.
No. So Jim, what I was hoping to do, there's so much, that we could talk about, as your time as player and then manager and everything within the club. You span such a long period of time. But I thought I wanted to focus on from the time that you came to join Ipswich up to Wembley, and I have a little bit of a cunning plan that you'll enjoy this so much, and the people watching it will enjoy it so much as well, that you'll agree to do another one. So let's go back. Let's go back to September 1997. You made over 100 Premier League appearances for Southampton, and then David Pleat signs you for Sheffield Wednesday. He's then soon replaced by Ron Atkinson, and then after that, Ron Atkinson is replaced by Danny Wilson. Can you explain why things weren't working out for you at Sheffield Wednesday, and what was the thinking of your short-term loan deal to Ipswich?
Yeah, go back in time to Southampton. I had fought so hard to get into the Premier League at Southampton after a fantastic spell at Oxford United. So the next move to Sheffield Wednesday came about largely around the fact that Southampton didn't really show a real urgency or desperation, if you like, to renew my contract. I was 4 years into a contract, and my contract had expired. Dave Jones had come in. I was captain of the club. I'd played 5 Premier League games. We were on an international break. And David Pleat rang me up and said, would I be interested in speaking to Sheffield Wednesday? And I said I would. I went up. Really liked David Pleat. Really liked his thoughts, his views on the game. He was so passionate, energetic. He talked passionately about how he wanted to play. Sheffield Wednesday were on the back of a fantastic season the year before. I think they finished 6th or 7th in the Premier League. Lots of good players. The Canio, Carboni, Des Walker, John Newsom, Ian Nolan, Hinchcliffe was there. So there were a lot of top players. Guy Whittingham, Mark Pembridge. So the list went on. So for me, I wanted to continue, obviously, in the Premier League. I felt I'd done enough. I was an established player in the Premier League. I played so long. I didn't miss many games at Southampton. 4 years, Premier League. Felt very comfortable in that surroundings. And I thought, right, okay, Sheffield Wednesday, big club. It felt like a natural progression. And when David Pleat signed me, I had his stamp of approval. David Pleat has a great standing in the game and wanted to play an attractive way of playing football. So for me, it was a no-brainer going there. I was very sad to leave Southampton under those circumstances. But again, I had a manager who was showing faith in me and was going to give me a platform to go and play. So off I went. Things didn't go particularly well. Pleat was under a lot of pressure. We lost games. And then Pleat got the sack. Big Ron came in, again, with a massive reputation. I'd always watched his teams of the past and regarded him as another football man who wanted to play an attractive brand of football. I played the first 3 games. We won all 3. We went to Southampton, ironically, where we won. We beat Bolton well at home, and we beat Arsenal at home. And I think that was in the November. And then he dropped me. For no reason, Big Ron dropped me. I was captain at Sheffield Wednesday at the time, and he dropped me. And I didn't play again until April. And that was the longest spell I'd ever been out of football. The longest spell of not playing, back in the reserves, that awful feeling of going back playing reserve team football. And then he brought me back for West Ham at home, and I scored. And that was a massive test for me. You know, November to, so what's that, 5 months of not playing at that level, having been used to 4 years of playing Premier League football. So it was a real test of character and a real test of resilience. And I played on the day. We drew 1-1. I scored the goal. Played the next 2 or 3 games. Then he dropped me again. Once Sheffield Wednesday became safe, dropped. And I knew I wasn't going to be part of his plans moving forward. That summer, Ron goes. Danny comes in, a former playing colleague from Northern Ireland. I'm thinking Danny will give me an opportunity. Pre-season couldn't have gone any better. I was playing consistently, playing well. And then I was left out first game of the season and didn't play. So again, another spell in the reserves, which was, it wasn't great for me. I didn't enjoy it. Regardless of having to travel every week, sitting on the bench at Premier League games, I just didn't enjoy it. For me, I'd had to be playing. So it came to a head. Sean, really came to a head. Frank Barlow was Danny's assistant, and Frank was a real football man. And I went to him and I just said, listen, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And I said, I want to go out on loan. I said, and he said, that shouldn't be an issue, Jim. Shouldn't be a problem. I know 2 or 3 clubs that are interested. I'll go and speak to Danny. You go and speak to Danny after this conversation, and then we'll see what happens. So I went to see Danny. Danny said, right, well, you're on the bench. And I outlined everything about him. He understood, sympathetic, hadn't played the game. Again, we were former colleagues, quite sympathetic, but he had a job to do. And my focus was, every day, applying myself every day, wanted to train hard, wanted to prove myself, but no job satisfaction at the end of the week. And that was so important to me. Then I heard that Ipswich were interested, and looked at Ipswich, knew the great heritage. It produced 2 England managers, 1 winning a World Cup. I knew where the club were in terms of standing in the English game. I was very impressed with George Burley, very impressed with the squad, and I wanted to give it a go. And I was really, really determined to go and, if you like, give myself an opportunity to really express himself again. And to be fair, one conversation with George, and that was it. And I fit it right in right away, and that was probably down to the group of players I went and joined.
So what was your first impressions of the players that you joined? Who stood out for you, early on?
My first impression of getting to Ipswich was, where are the signposts for Ipswich? So when I got on the A14, I went, where is it? Why isn't there signposts for Ipswich? All I could see was Felixstowe, and these lorries just getting to Felixstowe, and then all of a sudden I see Ipswich 24 May. I went, thank goodness, right? So I got there, and the dead of night, and I'm going, what have I done here? What have I done? And then I saw the stadium, and then I knew there was just that butterflies, and I knew. And my first impression going in, I knew they had senior players, and the senior players were good lads. So Vino, Mickey Stockwell, Mugga, and then surrounded by younger players. And first training session, I was really impressed with quality. I thought, yeah, they might lack a little bit of intensity, but I really thought quality. Dyer was there, Johnson was there, Holland was there, Clapham was there, Schoolcroft was there, Richard Wright was there, Naylor was there. I'm thinking, this ain't bad. I'm liking this. Now they need a nudge. They're definitely going to need a nudge, and I really enjoyed it. Sunderland away was a real baptism of fire, but loved it. It couldn't have been a better start for me, and it couldn't have given me a better incentive to go and prove myself again.
How different was the style of football when you played for against Sunderland in Division 1 as it was then?
Listen, they were a good side. They were a top side, full of Premier League footballers. So that felt like a Premier League game. And what I did after the game was assess the players that I was playing with, and I really liked it. I got a real good smell of it, and really liked what I was seeing in the dressing room. Liked how George presented it. I liked how George presented himself. He was very calm in the dressing room as well with the players. I just got a really good feeling, and that again, I couldn't wait to get going again.
Yeah. So after the debut at Sunderland, it was a run of 7 wins in the next 9 games. Your loan was extended, and Ipswich fans will remember the sign Magilton up chants at Portman Road, particularly, and also in the away game at Palace. And then we come to the last game of the loan against Huddersfield, in which you score.
Yes.
I think it's your first goal in the opener in a 3-0. Town are sitting second with 9 games to go.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how the deal became permanent, and approaching 30, what did you want in your career at that point?
Well, what was really special about that game, my dad was at the game, so my dad came over and watched the game, and we were traveling back to Belfast that night, and I don't know why. Was it an international break or whatever? I can't really remember the circumstances, but just this feeling of, I really felt that Ipswich Town were going to get promoted, and it gave me a chance to go back into the Premier League. So selfishly, I'm thinking, right, let's get this deal done. And I know at the time there were certain noises coming out, maybe both clubs, that there was a hesitancy on my part. Definitely wasn't a hesitancy. All it was that we were trying to obviously sort out to make sure the deal was going to be done, right? And what people don't really understand is that there are a lot of other things that go on before you decide to go. My wife was pregnant with Ryan, who was born in Ipswich then, and we had things that we needed to sort out, and that was basically it. And once I knew in my head that that was going to be taken care of, the 2 clubs had reached an agreement. I'd reached an agreement with Sheffield Wednesday, and this all gets played out. Yes, I was sold. I knew it was done, and it was permanent. That was it. There was nothing going to stop me. Mentally, I was ready for what was coming, and I was desperate to get the club promoted.
So we go into the last 6 games of your first season with us in 1999. We've got a 3-point lead in second, but then we have that horrible collapse, 3 defeats in the next 5, and we allowed Bradford to take second place. What do you think went wrong in those last games? Was it pressure, mentality?
Yeah, probably all of that. Of course it does. That plays a part. You're dealing with young players as well, inexperienced maybe. I felt responsible too, because George brought me in for my experience. We had good players. Listen, games just got away from us. We weren't probably ruthless enough in certain games. Maybe it did get to us a little bit. I remember we played Stockport at home, and actually scored that night. We won 1-0. Then we had Crewe at home, and there was kind of a flatness about us. I don't know what it was. It was quite eerie. They had good players: Dean Eiston, Danny Murphy, Mark Rivers. Good players who could hurt you. I think Jamal played that way for Crewe that day as well, Jermaine. So they had good players technically. I knew it was a potential banana skin, but I just thought we would have too much firepower. When we lost that game, I think a little bit of doubt crept in. I think it crept in maybe to others. I was still pretty determined, and it was a setback, but I didn't think it was going to be that detrimental to us, but unfortunately it was. So yeah, it slipped away from us, and it was extremely disappointing, but we had to regroup. We had to go again.
So the 1999 playoff semi-final ends in defeat to Bolton on away goals.
Yeah.
Meaning you'll be starting a first season in years outside the top flight. Is there any part of you at any point then that you felt that you'd made a mistake in coming to Ipswich?
No, it had gone. Sheffield Wednesday was just a learning curve for me. It was a harsh experience, but it was an experience that I was willing to learn from. Still felt we had good players, and I knew that George had an eye for a player, and I knew he'd be bringing good players in. He definitely did. He strengthened the squad. Jermaine came in. John McGrail came in the summer, I think. And so I only felt optimistic. I felt really, really strong. And that proved to be the point, because we started that season like a house on fire. I was injured, and I didn't come back in until, I think, Barnsley at home, where we beat Barnsley 6, ironically, at home that season, early on. And to think what would happen towards the end of that season. But the boys started so quickly, and they got out of the block so quickly. And I think we were top of the league. I think we'd won 7 games or 6 games on the trot. So, no, I wasn't negative at all, just really focused.
How big of a loss was it to the side with Kieran Dyer leaving in that summer?
Massive. Outstanding player, one of the best players I've played with. He was a match winner. He was one of them go-to lads who you knew in a game, and you need these tight, where if games are tight, something or someone pull something out of the hat for you. And he was one of them. He was that type of player, and he was still only emerging. He was still learning the game, but he was a massive loss, because he's the type that it's very difficult to replace. Now, we made up for that, because Jermaine and John, for example, come in, 2 good players, two really underrated players in my opinion, 2 fantastic players who done so well for Ipswich Town. But at the time, Kieran going was a loss. There's no question.
In an interview on our platform, Jono described you as being extremely demanding in training, but that you raised everybody's standards around you. Was this a case of you trying to push others to a higher level, or were the expectations of the players too low? Was there a noticeable uplift in their standards for the start of your first full season?
A bit of both. As I said earlier, they needed a nudge. They were good players, but a lot of them hadn't played. In fact, none of them had played in the Premier League. Stockers, I think, had an experience. I'm not sure if Mugga had at that stage, but listen, they had to train at a different intensity. They had to understand in order to get the next level, and they found that out as it emerged. But no, I was demanding, because standards. I always felt that standards in training, you match your standards in training, you bring it into the game. If you're sloppy in training, you'll be sloppy in the games. So there were demands on them. I was constantly at them, and I just seen it as part of. I didn't realize at times I was doing it, because at 16, when you go to Liverpool, there were huge demands on you every single day. Every single day, be better than you were the day before. So there were standards to be met. All I tried to do was train as hard as I could every day, try and be the best I could every day. I was upset if I wasn't the best player, or presumed that I was the best player. So in order to do that, I was obsessed with it, obsessed with training, obsessed with trying to be, everything I did was of a high standard. And again, when I looked at the manager, and you think of the manager and you think of the team he played for, I'm sure it was exactly the same, because he played in a top side, winning European trophies, challenging for league titles. He knew the expectations, and maybe that was one of the reasons why he brought me in.
It's great that you mentioned standards, but you would often try, what I would consider high risk passes, either through balls or switching the play with a lofted pass. Can you explain the decision making as you as a player, decision making process between the risk and reward, and when playing a more sort of individual off the cuff style that made you stand out?
It was just a feel. I got a feeling on the pitch. I always visualized the game. I always visualized how the game was going to pan out. I always saw the opposition, and I always visualized where I was going to be. I always say to midfield players, and you're wearing that cap, John Elway, you become a quarterback. You never see a quarterback turn around and drop a back pass or go backwards. You see a quarterback in the pocket, and he's playing forward passes, and he's playing forward passes for touchdown passes. So when I got in with time and space, as a midfield player, if you got time and space, you got to hit that pass. You got to be prepared to hit that pass, and you got to have the confidence in order to hit that. One, you have to have the technical ability to do it, but more to me is having the guts to do it. And when you're out there, people are paying money for entertainment. They're paying money for entertainment. So to entertain, you got to try and score goals. So we had so many attacking options. So I always thought, if I get an opportunity to get my head up and play a forward pass, I was going to hit it. And I use that. And I talk to the kids about Tom Brady and people like that. I use that transference of other sports. You're a quarterback. Why wouldn't you hit that forward pass? And Joe was big on it. Joe used to say forward run, forward pass. So run. I say run. If you run and I don't hit it, it's my fault. So run.
So the 1999-2000 season starts, with the team winning, but you're not fit, and it takes pretty much until December before you're back starting all the games again.
Yeah.
Given ultimately you're going to be a key player, how frustrating was it those first few months? Matt Holland was never injured. Jermaine Wright arrived. James Scowcroft was pulled back to play in midfield, obstructing your way to get back into the team.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have been easy. Definitely wasn't easy. I would have been pretty much in people's faces in training, pretty demanding, as people have suggested. Not playing in the team, I can't say I would have been your best mate. So I was, again, wanting to play, desperate to play, didn't want to sit on the bench. Listen, George knew that, and he knew my personality, he knew my character. But you know what? It probably gave me the energy, right, towards the end of the season. We were so good. It was very difficult. People were playing so well. I was always a big believer, if you're playing well and you've got the shirt, you deserve to stay in. I brought that with me as a manager. I appreciated that. But I wouldn't have been easy. Definitely not. So, again, I'd have been pushing people. I'd have been getting after them. I'd have been expecting opportunities to play. And when the opportunity came up, I was definitely not going to come out of the side.
So a couple of injury niggles, but there's a brilliant 18-game unbeaten run, and you start the vast majority of those games. Gary Croft comes in, Marcus Stewart arrives for $2.5 million, and on his debut, I remember you provide a beautiful outside of the foot pass, through ball, and you watch Stewart scores on his debut. Talk us about the arrival of Marcus Stewart and the standard of the team now at that point compared to 1 year before.
I have to say, really surprised we got him. Shocked that he left Huddersfield. Shocked. Steve Bruce, I think, was manager, and he let him go. George pulled off a massive coup for us. He again was. If I look at Jono was so explosive, really explosive, and fantastic. Fantastic striker for us. Physically, people underestimated it. He was so strong. But a lot of Jono's finish was a very much an aggressive, blast, if you like. Do you know what I mean? A lot of it was dealt in power. It wasn't like a finesse finish, and I'm sure you'll bring up.
Reconnecting.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, coming back in. I made a note at the time.
Right.
You said, I'm sure you're going to bring up about the finesse of something.
Yeah, just Marcus finesse. Marcus had finesse. Marcus had he was a cold. He was so clinical in the box. Knew where he was in the box. Had wonderful touch in around the box. Knew where the goals were and could finish. He was a fantastic finisher, and it was a lovely combination between the two. So that was a massive coup for us. That just gave us an unbelievable edge, and I in particular was delighted because I built up this, if you like, telepathy with him. I understood where he wanted to go. He said things to me, even at my age. He said things to me that made me really think about the game. One run for the defender, one for you. If I go long, I'm coming short. If I go short, I'm going long. So having pictures, having a little look over my shoulder, knowing where he was, things like that. So he made me a better player. And I'm always for, you're always improving. You're always getting better. So he was just a brilliant addition.
Yeah. Sadly, another 5-game slip gives Man City the advantage in the promotion race. Tensions rise and it spills over onto the pitch, and you and Jono come to blows at West Brom away. What was that about? Was it pressure or
desperation to win?
Yeah,
desperation to win. Both of us, in our own ways, wanted to win a game of football, and that was it. And it kind of way we were next door neighbours, so it was quite funny. We got the Portman Road. We went, we parked up next to each other. We gave each other a little look, and then it was all done. And listen, it was just a desperation. It was that real desire to win and desire to be successful and desire, to win a game of football. And that's what it was. And George sorted it out. We hugged, we made up, and then away we went again. So that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of the game at that level. So there was no issues.
So when you as a fan and you hear a player say, George sorted it out, what does that actually mean?
He brings two babies in, right? And he sits in between them. He says, right, what do you think? What do you think? Right, okay, we all good? Right, let's go. And that's it.
Right.
So
there you
that's
go.
basically it. So there was, and again, I had so much respect for what Jono brought to the game and brought to the team, and that was never an issue. So we had what we had, and then away we went.
The battle with Man City intensifies when you're up against a team like that. How much is what they're doing in your heads? And did you have a reaction to the Main Road pitch invasion after their last home game with us still having 2 games to play? Because, basically...
Massively.
Yeah.
Friday night they played and they celebrated as if they'd been promoted. That really annoyed me so much. It really, really annoyed me. And I knew we were playing champions-elect the next day. We had to go to Charlton. And we were magnificent on the day. Absolutely magnificent. We played as well as we played all season. We beat them twice, Charlton, that year. We in two fantastic games. We beat them at home in a brilliant game. And then we beat them away under massive pressure. Massive character shown by the players. That built momentum. That was just, for me, that showed these lads are ready for it as well. We were not going to go without a fight. That was massive pressure on us. And to play in the manner in which we played, to win in the manner in which we played, knowing that we had to win, right? That showed to me that we still had a big role to play that year.
I definitely want to go on to talk about the Charlton game, but just before, you mentioned obviously the other Charlton, we beat them. We did the double. We beat them at home 4-2. In that game, from what I remember, Tony Mowbray came out of semi-retirement.
He did.
And there was rumours that Manu Teti punched George Burley in the dressing room.
Absolutely not.
No.
If he'd have hit George would still be knocked out. Big Manu, you didn't mess with Big Manu. I love Manu too, and no, if Manu had hit George would have still been on the deck.
There's the answer to that then. Thanks, Jim. So we talk about Charlton, final away game, and this is, for me, one of your standout performances as an Ipswich player. You have that superb free kick early into the top corner. You loft a through ball to assist Jono. It's a fantastic pass you put through, and then you do the dribble and pull back for Martin Rusa to score. Can I first ask about free kicks? Who decided who would be taking them, considering that you had Vino and Clapham were good takers?
Yeah.
And secondly, what was your process? Just a matter of repeating what you practiced, or was there something more to that?
Just process, go through the routine. I used to be first in the morning. I used to practice them before training. I had 2-3 steps, and I continued that process right up until I stopped playing. I had supple and price in. They used to get a couple of quid for coming in, and mannequins up. Just process. It was just, it was kind of way, get it over the wall. Little bit of pace. Listen, Roysher was another level too. Roysher could hit it with real pace.
Yeah.
I was more kind of a more placement. Roysher could do it both ways. He was just outstanding. Vino was more Christ wallop. He had a fantastic left foot, a cannon of a left foot. And Jamie was probably a little bit like me, more placement. So, listen, at that time, I just felt super confident. I just felt, I'm hitting this. I just feel really good. And again, that comes down sometimes on the pitch where, listen, who fancies this? All right, you. For example, in the playoff against West Ham, I said, Tommy, listen, I think this is made for you. Tommy was he had a really strong side foot. And I said, Tommy, this is you. Look at the wall. Look at the bodies. Goalkeeper say. Tommy did, scored. So again, it was weighing up the options. And at that time, I was super confident, and lucky enough, it went in.
Us fans maybe naively believe that form exists within teams and players. When you have a game like the Charlton one, do you feel you're in great form? And was there a sense as an individual that you were peaking as an individual as the season ended?
Really did. Unbelievably, Sean. Honestly, I just felt maybe that was because I kind of had that sabbatical at the start of the season, as I suggested. I felt on top of my game. I just felt really confident. I felt really, really fit. That was a blistering day at Charlton, blistering, and I felt as if I could run all day. The game felt very easy to me. I had all the pictures in my brain, real clarity, those last few games, including the final at Wembley. I couldn't believe how clear thinking I was. The clarity in my game, the clarity in my decision making was so evident to me, right? And I was going into the game super confident. I just was really, really confident going into the games. And that, if you could bottle that up and be able to keep that, it'd be fantastic. But certainly that period was a real golden spell for me, definitely.
So we go to the last game of the season against Walsall.
Yeah.
One of the strangest games that I've been to. So
yeah.
You're on the ball when all of us fans, cheer that Blackburn have taken the lead. How does that kind of weird electricity in the stadium at that point affect the players?
Oh, listen, you can't not but be caught up on it. So we knew. I really did think Barnsley were going to do, or Blackburn were going to do us a favour. I really did. Yeah. Because, and again, when I look back at that game, they had about 3 or 4 unbelievable chances. Unbelievable. I remember speaking to Kevin Horlock about it after. He said they were battered. They got battered at half time. Joe's thinking, what is going on? And then they just ran out of steam, Blackburn, and the rest is history. But yeah, of course you get caught up on it. You're willing, you're wanting, obviously, it to go your way. But again, deal with your own business. Deal with that. Deal with the aftermath. Again, I was so determined, as were the rest of the players. We sat in the change room after the game, and it was, you can mope, but you get 30 seconds to mope because you're going into now the 2 biggest games you're ever going to play. So you've got to dust that down. You got to give yourself a shake, and you got to say, right, focus now, because you're playing against a top side in Bolton. I thought Bolton underachieved with the quality of player they had, and I knew that we were going to face massive games.
So before we get to the playoff semi-final, what do you think we were missing in terms of not being able to finish in the top 2?
It's very difficult to say. I don't think an awful lot. I think luck may have played a part. Maybe pressure again. Maybe, we didn't, again, clinical, but we had enough firepower. Listen, I can't answer that because we were definitely, in my opinion, in the top 2 that year. We're in the top 2 that year. We proved that. We had top players, in my opinion, again. George had recruited well. I thought we were a really good side, a really emerging side. I thought there was still so much more to come from the group. And we just fell at the last hurdle again. It was again very disappointing. But you have to put it to one side. As I say, the Charlton game was crucial for me. I thought, right, we are ready for this. We're going to have to be ready for this. Walsall we took care of. Then I knew, here we go. And again, a massive test of character in the first 30, 40 minutes of that game at Bolton. Massive. Yeah,
so the 20th anniversary of the playoffs against Bolton coming up. And as you say, it's a terrible start. Holdsworth scores after 5. Gudjonsson after about 26. Mogger and Jono are both off injured by just after the half-hour mark. How hard was that first period, and how do you not lose your head in that type of situation?
You can't. They played so well, and you got to just hold your hands up and just say, listen, they're a good side. They were everything I thought they'd be and more. And Eidur Gudjonsson, they had probably the best player in the championship. I thought he was an outstanding player, and he is an outstanding player and proved to be. You consider the clubs he went on to play for. So he was hard to play against, and they were hard to play against. They were aggressive. They came away for 30 minutes, got on top of us. We allowed maybe the occasion to get on top of us. But you got to give credit. You got to hold your hand up and just say they play better than us. Then we settled into the game. We settled beautifully into the game. We got a little bit more ball. We got a little bit of a foothold. They were always going to pan out. It was a blistering hot day again, if I remember well. And Matty sets up Stewie, who pulls out an unbelievable goal. We get in at half time, we regroup. George again very calm. We get out second half. We were the aggressor. We controlled the game. We were very good. Stewie scores another incredible goal. When you think of his composure and how clinical he was, brilliant. And we were the aggressor going into. I had a chance, I think, and it just skimmed the top of the net. I'm thinking, listen, we've done brilliantly at 2-2. Now we have to regroup. Then there was all sorts of, shenanigans. We had injury worries. They had injury worries. Their main top player, Aider Gudjonsson, was doubtful. Mugga was doubtful. Johnno was doubtful. Then we get to that game. We get to the Tuesday. It's Tuesday night, wasn't it? The second leg. We get massive news that Mugga and Johnno are going to be fit. That was massive for us. Then they get the news that Aider Gudjonsson won't be fit. I was delighted. I remember driving to the ground. I remember that whole day. As I said, it was clarity. I remember being so calm, so calm, so clear in my thinking. But cock a hoop that Aider Gudjonsson was not playing for Bolton. I felt that gave us a psychological edge. I was over the moon.
So that was our little bit of luck that maybe we were missing in the league campaign.
Yeah. Because he's top player. So when you lose your top player, you're not at full strength. That would have played in their mind. That certainly of me. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, well, he's gone, yeah, but you're still thinking match winner. He's their match winner. He's the boy that can pull something out of nothing. So he surrounded by really good players, experienced players, lots of experience. So that was massive for me. That was massive for me. That was massive plus. You don't spread that around a dressing room because, again, everybody has their own way of preparing for a game mentally. Me, I was ready. I was going, licking my lips. I was delighted.
I hope the listeners and the viewers can see that the hairs are going on the back of my neck, because we get to my favourite game, my favourite ever game as an Ipswich Town fan. The first leg was the Marcus Stewart game, you could say, but this quite clearly is the Jim Magilton game. And I know there's been lots been said about it, but at the very least for me and all of the fans out there, let's just go through it again and just I could relive it every day. Holdsworth again gives Bolton an early lead, but you drive into the box and you win a penalty. Up you get and you score the kick to Jaskalainen's right. Talk to me about the nerves, given that you'd been fouled for the penalty kick, and how that could be unsettling, and what's going on with Mike Whitlow after you scored. What was that?
I knew. I remember saying, "We're not going to be bullied. Don't be bullied." There was a feeling maybe from the first game that they were aggressive and were trying to bully us. They thought we were too nice. Well, they were picking on the wrong group, and they were certainly picking on the wrong person. I was not going to be dictated to by them, and I certainly wasn't going to be bullied. Now, in any game of football, you have to play with aggression. You have to play. You can't win at that level of game. You cannot win without aggression, and it comes in many different forms. It comes in Tony Mowbray winning a header. It comes in, Wayne Brown, who'd been brought in winning tackles, and aggression in running, aggression in your passing. So all of these things were going through my mind standing in that tunnel. I was not going to be bullied by them. Certainly wasn't. I was going to stand up to them. I didn't care who it was. So when I went down for the penalty, there was all sorts of hullabaloo. Paul Warhurst is in my face. I'm going, yeah, dead on. No problem. You're going to get it. Let's have it. So all this. So it was a penalty. End of story. So Jaskalainen, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's going there. It's definitely going there. So you can do whatever you want. I'm putting that ball there. And then after it, I'm thinking, Mick Whitlow is a lovely man. He's a lovely, lovely guy. I've met with Mick loads of times. Jimmy Phillips, lovely guy too. They turn into different animals that night. So that's fine. That's the nature that's a nature of sport. You have to turn in once you cross the white line, no problem. Well, I turn into something, I'm not sure different, but definitely, that was I wasn't going to be, no way was I was going to stand up to them. I was going to stand up to the aggressor, and I was going to let them have it no matter what. And they weren't going to bully me, or they weren't going to bully any of the other players. So that was just the way it was going to be. And then obviously the second penalty, and they were delighted.
Can you remember what you said to him?
No, I can't really. Don't know if I said anything to him. I just got very close to him anyway.
You did. You wouldn't be able to do that now. You've got to be 2 meters away.
Social distancing didn't happen then.
Holdsworth gets a second for 2-1, but then it's another penalty just before half time.
Yeah.
You know, yourself and Jaskalainen, technically excellent players. So at that point, when you're lining up, is it a psychological battle between the two of you?
Yeah, I changed my mind. I knew he was going that way, and I kept saying to me, he's going that way. So I was so clear. I was absolutely so clear, and I actually was going to walk up and side foot it on the other side. And every time I see it now, I'm thinking I'm going to do that. Every time I see that now, I'm thinking, yes, Jim, just pass it in there. I was actually just going to roll it in because I knew I'd had a little look and I knew he was going there. But whatever happened, I just went the same side. I changed my mind, and I mean milliseconds from the second I was going to touch the ball, I changed my mind. I was actually just going to roll it, and then boom. And of course, they were absolutely delighted, and they were all, unlucky, Jim. No, I don't think so. We had the regroup half time. Yeah. I remember half time again. Credit George, very calm, and it was his insistence. We got to play more. We need to do more with the ball, and I agreed with him. But I remember having that moment, and I remember going into the toilet, and I went, "Oh, please don't let this be me. More than anything, don't let me missing a penalty. Please, don't let it be me." So very determined second half to make amends.
So when you missed the penalty, what goes through your head at that point?
At that point, I'm thinking, that's it. I'm not getting. That's me. It's my fault. For about 5 seconds, and then they're in my ear, and I thought, right, get rid of that thought. Let's get after these again. So yeah,
and you did
at half time.
And you did in the 49th minute. I describe it as a Messi-like goal. It's fantastic. You do a brilliant dribble into the box and you finish into the top corner for your second of the game.
Yeah.
Given that you're not known as a fast player, can you give us a secret to your dribbling abilities and how you've been able to score this type of goal?
I always had quick feet. I always had quick feet. I had to have quick feet to match a quick brain, but it was simply I had to bang myself time. It was that all I kept saying is the space I have in front of me is the space I have to play. If I have to shift the ball either side, I had to shift the ball. So it was always, as the ball's coming to me, I always had a picture. I knew where you were. Do you know what I mean? So I knew as an opposition, if it was 1 touch or 2 touch, but I had to shift the ball. So I constantly worked on quick feet, left, right, left, right, left, right. But I think what has to be put on record as well is Jono's touches for the first penalty was magnificent. He's had a little look, and it's a lovely little dink. Vino's rattled the ball into him. I think it's his little dink to me again. So he presented himself twice. Fantastic little touches. Great awareness from Jono. And then it was kind of like I just kept shifting the ball. And then once I had a little look, and once the opportunity arose where I thought, right, I'm putting that there. It's going there. Now, if he makes a save, wonderful. But that's where it's going. And I hit it well enough. It was a really clean strike. And the ball goes top corner. So, listen, that's Roy the Rover stuff for me. That was boys' own. It was just fabulous moment. But again, it was huge relief. I thought, that penalty isn't going to go. Well, it might still cost us, but it's not at the minute. They might forgive me.
Sadly, that joy was short-lived because obviously Johnston basically almost straight from the kickoff.
Yeah,
that's one of the worst things for you, is it? As a player that you get, you get level.
100%, Sean. You can't even celebrate. You haven't even got time to think, oh, what a good player I am. Oh, what wonderful dancing feet I have. Goal, and Alan Johnson pulls one out of nowhere. Like his goal, the quality of goals, like it was an unbelievable goal, and you're going, oh my goodness, we're going to have. I actually felt that we're going to have to score more goals than them prior to the game. I always felt that, albeit we built a lot around a very good defensive foundation, very solid, we were kind of way loose defensively, and it felt that way on the night. I just felt we're going to have to score more than these. Now, we didn't get a breather, because Johnson puts one in, and then you're going, oh, here we go. Now we're really gonna have to step it up, and we did. To be fair, our quality of our play increased as the game wore on. And I think we wore them down with that. I think we did. I think they were very strong on the counter. And that proved again to be the point, the point, yeah, because Klaus Jensen, you know, on the counter attack, Reddy makes an unbelievable save, and that's probably was that extra time. But yeah, that kind of way, that was how it panned out. We were just really strong and stronger with the ball.
Ipswich, obviously, you know, with their previous hat trick of failing in the playoffs, and you know, us fans were going into the last minute. We're 3-2 down. You know, Mogga's playing up front as the big man, and I think it's a big boot forward from Vino, I think, and Mogga nods it down, and I've written some things here, but I can't. Just talk me through it. He nods it down. Talk me through from the fact that the ball's going your direction to how it felt when you were laying on your back on the turf celebrating with your players.
Yeah, I'll take you back to Vino. So the ball lands at Mark Venus. And I'm looking at Mark Venus, and I'm looking at Mark. I'm looking at Mogga, and I know Mark Venus will land it somewhere in that vicinity. I have no doubt. So before it even leaves his foot, I'm away, and I know if it's in anywhere around Mogga, I'm going to get second ball. I was just desperate to get around the second ball. When you see Mark Venus then play that pass, the header from Mogga is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. He's every sinew of his neck muscle. It is the most unbelievable layoff you could ever imagine. So as that's going, I'm making the ground up, and I'm knowing right, Mogga he just drops it. Now I'm expecting it to drop. I'm already looking at the goal. I'm thinking I'm weighing up two options. If it's dropping, I'm chipping it. I see Jääskeläinen. I'm chipping him. He's off his lane. The other one is, if it bounces, I'm going to volley, I'm going to knee it, and I'm going to hit it between someone's legs because he can't see it. Oh, it's just something in my head was going between the legs. Keeper can't move. So as it's going, it drops down, knee, just strike. Keep it down. I think it goes through Frank, the French guy, they had his legs, and Jääskeläinen can't move. He can't see it. And then when it nestles in the net, I'm going, happy days. Now listen, after that is a blur. You turn into a maniac, a lunatic. You lose all sense. You haven't a clue what you do. I'm brushing Maddie away. I'm just in another planet. And the noise is deafening. People are on the stand, they're going bananas. I get this fella coming on to me. I'm hugging him. I'm chucking him off. I'm thinking, pandemonium here. Pandemonium. And then it's whoosh. It's settled down here. Do you know what I mean? Settled down. But yeah, that kind of way was the defining moment. I don't know if that broke them, but it certainly gave us, I think everybody then felt, oh, we're going to Wembley here. We broke this. This voodoo is gone. This is gone now. Now, as a player, you're thinking, get switched on again, because what happened previously, do not switch off. Do not switch off for a second. But yeah, that moment, very, very clear thinking from, you know, as I said, the clarity. But once that was done, boom, let's get focused now. Let's go and win the game.
As a fan, you could sense that their heads had gone, you know, and when the red cards come, if we take it to the next penalty that Jamie Clapham took. Now, I think from what I recall, is that you and Mogga had a conversation before, about who was going to take it.
He said, you're not hitting it. I went, I am. He said, no, you're not. And Vino jumps in, as Vino always does. He went, no, let him hit it. And I'm going, I'm hitting this. And by the time we're having the conversation, Jamie Clapham's got the ball. And I'm going, no. So Clapham gets the ball. So I didn't want to dispute. At the end of the day, that was it. Mogga, I think what Mogga did cleverly was divert my attention from Jamie Clapham, and he did it pretty well, because Clapham has the ball. Now Jamie takes guts, real character, steps up and scores. At that stage, calm, cool, let's focus on let's play the minutes out, play the game, play exactly, because we were very strong with the ball, dominate the ball, make them chase it, stay strong, stay positive, still play forward passes, Do not detract. Don't get carried away with yourselves here. Let's just stay in the game.
So Elliot gets sent off for Bolton on a scythe down Martin Reusser.
Yeah.
Basically makes it safe at that point. I think most of us think that we're going to Wembley.
Yeah.
The other guys on the Blue Monday podcast, they did the show recently, and there was a discussion about Bolton's approach, because this game did get quite nasty with the 2 red cards, 3 penalties, 10 yellows. Was their approach overly aggressive from the word go, or did they just lose their heads? And given the comments from Sam Allardyce since, do you have any sympathy for the referee Barry Knight?
I thought he made. There was maybe one contentious one. I think he made all the right decisions. And if I felt he made a poor decision, I would tell you. But I felt he made the right decisions. Mick Whitlow got sent off, 2 yellow cards. Well, who got sent off?
Elliot.
Aye.
Yeah.
He lashes out. Did he get a straight red?
Yeah, he did.
I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, one of them got a red. Yeah, I mean, at this point, my head's even gone now. So, do you think people used to say about Ipswich that we had like that famous sort of soft underbelly, and we were a soft touch? Do you think that that was Bolton's approach from the beginning to bully us?
I think there was. I think it wasn't so much. They were physical. They were aggressive. And if you're physically aggressive and you bully the opposition, then it's up to the opposition to counteract that. They had a very strong, technical, physical, right, aggressive side, but they had wonderful footballers. Jensen, Gu Johnson, Johansson, Alan Johnson. I wouldn't say overly aggressive. So, but they came into the game maybe thinking that were soft. Maybe they thought they could intimidate us. But we had to stand up to them. And sometimes you have to meet aggression with aggression. Okay? And sometimes that aggression, brawn, brain. Do you know what I mean? So that part of the game in the extra time was more brain than brawn. So outthink them. Keep the ball moving. Just keep playing the spare man. Get little triangles going. Then get out the other side because they overloaded one side. Get the ball switched. Let them run. Let them chase it. But in all fairness to them, they showed tremendous character throughout it. Jensen has an unbelievable chance. Reddy makes an unbelievable save. They keep going. Dean Holdsworth, to his credit, keeps going. He's limping. So they're really down to it. But they showed unbelievable character too. And I always have tremendous, not so much sympathy for them, but respect for them. Because they were a good side. They were a really good side. But we, on the night, were a better side.
We fairly beat them.
I think so. So. When I look back on it, I think we deserved to win. It was very, very close, very close. Obviously, the numerical advantage is always going to help a team to dominate the ball like we did, and we controlled the ball, and we made them work, and we all were confident that we were going to be able to retain the ball, which was great.
Like I said, it was my favourite game. Is it your favourite game that you played in?
Yeah, the Charlton game was a really enjoyable game for me. A really enjoyable game. And that was building up to that night and Wembley. I felt in total control. It made me felt of my emotions, but I was totally in control of my emotions. I wanted them to see that, one, we weren't, and I keep going back that, we weren't going to be intimidated by you, right? But my emotions were in check, and my clarity and decision making was so precise, and I felt really on top of the game. So I wasn't overawed by the experience. I couldn't wait for it to happen, and even to this day I can remember lots of things that happened in the game. So yeah, it's one of my favorite games. Of course it is. Now,
you mentioned the W word, Wembley.
Yeah.
So old Wembley, this is a game that is set for Jim Magilton, isn't it? Big stadium, big stage, live on TV. There was a sense from town fans in the 3 years where we failed in the semi-finals that if we actually got to Wembley in a one-off game, we would win. How confident were you and the team going into that final?
Yeah, very confident. You can't not be not confident. But I'll tell you what, we were very cautious, and we weren't overconfident, because we had to give respect to a really good side. A side, right, that you look at and totally dominated a semi-final against a strong Birmingham side. And you looked at Shipperley, Hignett, Thomas, Barnard, Seattle. They had top players. So it was no surprise. And when you look back on the final and you think of the challenges we faced in that final, they had a great spell, we had a great spell. It was kind of evenly balanced. I was biased for a long time, and I watched it back and I'm thinking, oh, that was a little bit tighter than what people had imagined. I remember Andy Rhodes saying to me, who came in, and Andy was the goalkeeping coach at Barnsley at that time. He said, "You kidding me?" He said, "We had every chance of winning that game." And you know what? He probably was right. You know, because there were moments in the game where the game could have went away from us. Certainly they started so much brighter than we did. But the build up to Wembley was everything I dreamed of. Everything I dreamed of. Walking onto the pitch, walking out the tunnel end, blue and white everywhere. And the red at the far end, it was a lovely contrast. And it was a lovely feel to the day. Even Wembley Way, I managed to see my family, which again, very emotional. And blue and red. It was a brilliant day. And walking out, but I remember walking out the tunnel end. And I'd been lucky enough to go there with Liverpool as a boy and had a charity shield walking. But this was knowing that you're going to play, knowing that you're going to, you know, hopefully you're going to make a contribution. Walking out there, it was everything I ever thought it was going to be. But I remember going to Neil Shipperley having a chat. Ships and I had been playing partners at Southampton, playing mates. I remember hugging him and having a listen, good luck, blah, blah, blah. Hope you lose, right? So, but walking back, I remember walking back and I was lost in my own thoughts. And then this noise came up. There was this noise. And I'm looking behind me. I'm thinking, what's going on? And I kind of like just drifted off on my own. And I was walking down and the place lifted. And I thought, is that for me? And I thought, can't be for me. And it was honestly, even now, like, it was unbelievable. Like, and I thought, save it. Yeah. Just flipping save this, right? If we win this, yes, I'll go and hug and kiss every single one of you, but keep it. But it was lovely. It was a lovely gesture. And I remember feeling even more passionate and even more clear. Listen, we got to do it for these boys. We got to do it for our supporters. Yeah, they've been starved of this. So, but again, the focus, the whole concentrate, get in the change room, prepare as normal, keep everybody ready, right, and let's go. But the kick-off, flip me, they were brilliant. Barnsley were brilliant.
For 6 minutes in, well, I've got to admit to you, Jim, that actually I wasn't at Wembley. Really? I flew out to Jamaica on my honeymoon. And
you've never forgiven her, have you?
No, I haven't. No, 20 years. Our 20-year anniversary is coming up as well. So 6 minutes into the game, so hearing it from you was fantastic. 6 minutes into the game, Craig Hignett's shot comes off the bar, hits right on his back and goes back in. But then suddenly you get an assist crossing the ball to Mowbray, who seems to tower above lots of people. It's 1-1, but we have Richard Wright. He charges out, he concedes a penalty, which you're not too happy about. No. But then he saves it from Barnard. Yeah. Having survived the early own goal and the penalty, are you concerned, or is it just that name on the trophy stuff?
Yeah, I'm concerned. Definitely concerned. Because you got to get yourself in the moments of the game. Everybody else, you can't play on occasion. You got to just think it's a pitch. It's a football pitch. You're playing against opposition who, by the way, are not going to give it to you. And they most certainly proved that in 45 minutes. It was a kind of way a harsh lesson for us. Regroup. Let's now start to dominate. Let's start to Let's start to dominate our play against theirs. Let's start moving the ball quicker. We didn't do that. We were making fundamental mistakes. We were careless with the ball. Again, things that George illustrated at half-time. Calm down. Let's just play our game. And then I thought we started the second half and then had 20 minutes of a real good spell. And again, you get caught up in the emotion and things you recall. John going off. That would have given them as a lift. John would have been earmarked for them. David Johnson was a top player, massive threat for us. Him going off gives them a massive confidence lift. One less thing to worry about. Then on comes the Ginger Ninja, who has an absolute worldly, right? So Bam Bam comes on, and he was immense in the game, immense. And we have that lovely spell where we're in total control of the game. So again, our destiny rests in our own hands. We go 3-1 up, and you're thinking, boom, let's kill the game off.
You're right. The Ginger Ninja, and then Marcus Stewart puts 3-1 up.
Yeah.
But we're never quite home and hose as Hignett sticks another penalty away for 3-2. Yeah. And then there's a big chance for Barnsley with Christoph, which, Wrighty pulls out a fantastic save. Yeah. However, on 90 minutes, Naylor puts Royce clean through. Yeah. What are your memories? What are your memories at that point when you watched the ball from the Ginger Ninja?
Relief. Oh, listen, he wasn't going to miss. Gorgeous Gus was not going to miss. Do you know what I mean? Chocolate himself, he was never going to miss. He was kissing himself before the ball went in the net. He was already celebrating. Relief. It was just utter relief. I remember at 3-2, the save, Righty save, and we're clinging. John McGreal hadn't played many games. John's back. Jama goes off. Fabian comes. The family would come on. Crofty's out in his feet. We had lads who were out in their feet. They were going. I'm thinking, if this goes the extra time, we could be in a bit of trouble here. We could be in a wee bit of trouble. But I always felt, because they were pressing, we had enough pace in the team that we could counter, and that was a beautifully counter attacking goal. But once it went to him, never any doubt, never a doubt. And again, Roycer Premiership, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then the final whistle. Oh, incredible feeling.
Tell me what happened when the final whistle. What can you remember?
Do you know what? Everything that I thought it was going to be came flooding back to me. Everything. It was every boyhood dream I've ever had of raising my hands on the pitch, having won the game. It was pure relief, pure joy. It's the elation. But you know what? I remember then looking over his shoulder and looking at Chris Morgan. And Chris Morgan's come over and done his badges with Northern Ireland, the FM. We always bring this up, especially when we have a beer. But he was on his knees. He's on his knees. And you know what? My heart sank for him. It sank for him. I remember going over to him and picking him up. And he is just a fantastic lad. He was so gracious. And I was saying, Chrissy, I don't know. He says, just enjoy it, Jim. He says, and my heart sank for him. But my respect for him went through the roof. And since I got to know him, fabulous. It was a fabulous retort. And it was wonderful sportsmanship from him. And then, of course, you just go do lally. You're gone. You're hugging. You're kissing. You're loving life. And it's just this incredible emotion. You're looking around you. You're seeing tears. You're seeing George. You're seeing Dale. You're seeing people, grown men, react in such a way that it can only happen in sport. It can only happen. And then you're looking down that end and you're seeing a blue, and you're just seeing people as happy as they're probably in those moments that they'll ever be, and that was just tremendous. It was just tremendous, and a huge amount of respect go to Barnsley. But, for us as a football club, you think of the chairman, you think of the manager, you think of the years of hurt, and then you're thinking, I better be in the top 3 walking up them stairs at Wembley, up them steps at Wembley, because I'm getting up there, and I'm making sure I'm in that first part of it, and pushing people out of the way, get me up there. So it was getting into the queue, and then seeing where my family were, saw my brother, saw my dad, saw my mate, saw my brother-in-laws. It couldn't have went any better. It was just one of those incredible days that you never forget.
Did you feel vindicated at that point that your move to Ipswich back in 1999 was? Did you feel vindicated?
No, I just felt I'm going back to where I want to play, where I think I deserve to play, and I just couldn't wait to get back into the Premier League. Premier League, people kept saying it, Premier League all day, and and to feel that you've overcome that obstacle and that hurdle, and I'm looking at young faces, I'm looking at young players, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to have this unbelievable opportunity to play against the best players in the world, because the Premier League was going through the roof, top players. I'm thinking, right, well, I'm going to enjoy this for a week, at least a week, and then I'm going to get myself fit again. But at that stage of the season, I felt invincible. I just felt fit. I felt confident, superhuman, and just, you know, back in the Premier League, having won a playoff at Wembley, doesn't get any better.
It doesn't, and I think it brings a nice natural end to what I'll call part one of possibly part whatever. But just to finish, can I fire some names at you and from this portion of your career, and can you give me your first thought on each?
Yeah.
Steve McManaman.
Genius.
Brian Horton.
Madman.
Matt Letizia.
Genius number 2.
Graham Souness.
Influential.
Ron Atkinson.
Phony.
Matt Holland.
Gorgeous.
Sam Allardyce.
Tough.
Thank you, Jim, for this. It's been an absolute pleasure. And people who are listening, if they want to reach out to Jim, he's on Twitter at Magilton7. You've become more active recently. Was that did you decide that you wanted to get involved in social media more?
Yeah, I did a little bit, and I think with this and everything that's happening, I just added bits and pieces. I think what's lost a lot as well, and I know we're in this environment, is humour. I always felt that humour. Joe was a genius with it. You know, he could kill one. He had one-liners, and I always felt that fun and humour and having one-liners and being able to make people laugh and it's such an important part, not only in sport but in life. So I kind of interact. I like interacting. You know, I like criticism because it's part and parcel of learning. And I've just enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the banter and I've enjoyed the crack. People have been so kind and generous with their comments, which is lovely. And you know, I feel very grateful that they have done. And I tend not to look back, Sean. You know, it's lovely that I am now, but I kind of always looking that way. Always trying to look forward. Always trying to be positive. Always trying to look for what next, do you know, and my career kind of followed that. Was one of the reasons why I chose Ipswich and Ipswich chose me. I think it was a meeting that was made in heaven for both of us in terms of both our careers, you know, and where we both went in terms of the club. So yeah, very positive.
Well, I hope you get many people tweeting you saying that they really enjoyed the interview, and maybe you'll come back for other parts, Jim. But before you go, you know, you're speaking directly to the Ipswich fans. You know, it's 2020. Do you have a message for them? Stay
hopeful. Do you know, please don't lose hope. It's a fantastic football club. It's going to rise again. Stay with them. Stay with the manager. Stay with the team. You know, there's still, who knows what's going to happen this year? Who knows? You know, the most important thing is life and people surviving. Do you know, we're living in extraordinary times. So please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Stay with the club. You know, don't walk away from this football club. This is a fantastic, unique football club. So please stay with it. Stay with them. Give them your support. They need you. Let's fill the stands again. It's an incredible place. I remember Sir Alex talking about the first night back when we played Man United in the Premier League. The atmosphere that was created, that's hers on the back of your neck. Recreate that. Make them players have it. You know, at the end of the day, these players are going to get you maybe to where you want to be, where we all want us to be. So stay with them.
You'll be pleased to know, Jim, that we're doing a 1999-2000 review. So it's a much more in-depth review, and the final part's coming out. So hopefully the viewers will watch that. And myself and my colleague David Diamond, we're going through a 1980-81 session, all 66 games. So that's going to take us a few weeks to get through that.
Yeah.
Stay safe, Jim. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you very much. Brilliant job.